All right, welcome to Frank Teaches DevOps. My lovely viewers, in today's video, we will be talking about Ansible Roles, right? So, Ansible Roles are a way of organizing playbooks, right? In a simple definition, are a way of organizing playbooks because there will be a time when your playbook will grow, right? It will grow and to now become very very tedious or very complex to manage, all right? Then you need Ansible rules to structure and to manage um, your playbooks. All right, your playbooks. Assuming you have a playbook, you've written a playbook of about 1,000 plus um, lines of code. All right, 1,000 plus lines of YAML code, and you get to see that managing such playbook is very challenging. It's very challenging, all right? It's very challenging, especially when you um, get to run multiple tasks, all right? So many tasks. It's very, very challenging to deal with. But with the introduction or with the idea of roles, it makes your managing of playbooks very easy and controllable. All right, controllable. So that's why we are treating this topic, Ansible roles, which is very very important in the journey of um, understanding or using Ansible in the workplace. All right. So it allows you to develop reusable Ansible components. Okay. We shall in the next slide we shall look at the role structure, how a role could be structured. All right. So let's check in here. All right. So in roles directory structure, we have these components. We call them roles components. So role components, we have defaults, we have files, we have templates, we have vars, handlers, task, meta, and tests. All of these are components of roles, right? And all of these are directories. So in each of these directories, you have your corresponding files. Like in the default directory, you have the main file, you have the main.yaml file. So these are the files that are inside of all of these directories. Okay. All right. So the default is where you define your variables. The default directory and the vars directory, they do the same thing. All right. They have the same functionality. Okay. They have the same functionality. The files directory is where you define your files instructions, as the case may be. Templates, if you need to use some templates, all right, some XML are templates. You need to use some templating files. You place them inside of the templates directory. Handlers. So handlers, if you need to use some events, all right, you need to call up some events. You write them inside of this file, all right, inside of this file. Handler. Then task. So the task directory, this is where you actually define, you write your your Ansible tasks, your playbooks, all right? Your playbook tasks. This where in this directory you write your playbook, all right? Then meta, these are other meta files and tests and all that, all right? But the most important directories we have here are the defaults, task. These are the top priority files. Then handlers can come, and files can come, and I don't need to use vars because I'm already using defaults. All right, so they do the same. They have the same level of functionality. All right, so this is the entire structure of a role directory. All right, a role directory. Okay, so we're going to see how we can create a role. In our next slide, we'll see how to create a role. And after creating a role, I can now see how to use the roles. All right, so great. So now, this now brings us to the next topic, which is creating roles. There are two ways we can create roles. We can create roles automatically with Ansible Galaxy, or we can create roles manually by creating directories. All right, by creating directories. All right. So yeah, so we're going to see the two. We're going to see these two style of creating roles: Ansible Galaxy and manual method. But I want to take us through the manual method first. But I will show us Ansible Galaxy, how to use Ansible Galaxy to create a role. All right. I'll first of all show us how to use Ansible Galaxy to create a role. But I want to resort to using manual method, right? But in production or in your workplace, you don't need to use manual method to create rules. All you need to use is Ansible Galaxy. So let's go and see the difference, all right, in using Ansible Galaxy and using manual method in creating rules. So let's get started, guys. So you can see in my architecture, this is my control plane. This is where my Ansible is installed. All right. Then this is my target node. Okay. Here's my target node where I want my tasks to run on. Okay. So I I have created a test scene rule. So this is empty. So in here, I'm going to use Ansible Galaxy. I want to first of all show us Ansible Galaxy, how it works. So I'll use the command Ansible dash Galaxy. Then I will initialize the role. Right? So let's say I want to set up a web server. So the role name will be web server. My role name, the name of my role will be web server. So this is the syntax for creating a role web server. So this command is going to create for me a directory called web server. So in that directory, I'm going to have all of these structures. I'm going to have defaults, I'm going to have files, templates, vars, up till test. I take it again. So if I create role with Ansible Galaxy, all right, it's going to create for me a parent directory. Inside of the parent directory, I'm going to have all of these components, default files, templates, and the rest. So let's see how that works. Okay, so Ansible Galaxy, I'm going to initialize it web server. All right, and I'll hit enter. Now it will tell me that role web server was created successfully. Now let's check this web server. All right, so inside of this web server, I have the structure. So if I go into web server, I have this structure. I have default, I have files, handlers, meta, tasks, templates, test, and vars. So now let's check the content of each of these. So I do default, there's a main, only a main file. It's just empty file. I do files. On file, there is nothing. I do var, we have a main, you can see it's just a skeletal structure, right? Skeletal. So this is how you use Ansible Galaxy to create a role. So let me create one more role. Let's say Ansible Galaxy initialize, let's say DB servers. All right. So this will hold all my DB configuration. All right. So the directory DB server is going to hold all my DB configuration. So by using Ansible Galaxy, I'm able to create roles automatically. All right. Then I can now start editing the roles. All right. Editing the files in the directories. Right. But in this video, I don't want to go automatic. I want to go manual. So I want to show us how we can manually create these roles and use them. Okay. Now for that, I will be deleting these files, db and web. So they are gone, right? So I'm going to create them manually. So here we go. So mkdir, I'm going this route. I'm going the manual route now. I just left the automated route. I'm going the manual route. So mkdir, let me call it web serve. That would be my role name. So I'll go into web serve and I will create these corresponding directories. I'm going to create defaults. I'll create what I need. I don't need all of these. I'll only create what I need. So I'll say mkdir default, mkdir task. So these are the two things I need. I need these two things, default and then task. Okay, great. Now inside of default, I need to create a main.tf, a main.yaml file. So let's touch an empty file. Let's call it main.yaml. That's there. Now touch another file, task main.yaml. So that's it. So if I now do three is not installed. I need to install three. Sudo apt install 3. So 3 will show me the directory structure of my directory. So 3, so I'll see, you can see, okay, let me go a step backward and I run 3. You can see that I have my role name called webserve. So inside of the webserve, I have two directories. I have default directory and I have task. The default directory has a file called main.yaml, and then the task also has a file called main.yaml. All right. So now this is a web server. So I need to go into task main.yaml and start creating my roles. Sorry, I start creating my playbook. So I'll change directory into web serve and task. All right. So I'm inside of task. So in here, I'm going to go into main.yaml. So in main.yaml, the same thing we did on what's it called? What we did in in playbook. All right, in playbook. Okay. So I'll just define my tags here. So I'll give it a name of the tags. It's just a name. So the tags will be install Apache web server. All right. So now so I'm going to use the module apt. So name of the app server is Apache 2. Then what else? State is present, and I think that's all. Then I also need another task, which is okay, automatically it gets started, but let's just do it. Start the Apache service. Use the services model. Name of the service is Apache 2. Then state is started. Okay, what else do I need? Okay, I need to download some files. All right, some web files, my web configuration files that I need to deploy on the target node. So for that, I'm going to use next task. Next task will be download application, right? So I'm going to use a module called on archive. All right. So I will specify my source. I'll also specify destination. Then I'll also specify remote underscore source. Okay, so let's go and look for our source. So I'll go to Google. I'll search for um, simple HTML CSS projects, GitHub. All right. So let me look for some nice projects on GitHub. So let's look for some nice projects on GitHub. Login Coda team, project-based learning. Let me see this. Project-based learning, any stream. Let me see something. I don't like this look. No. Project-based. I need something. Loader shapes. Let me see this. They're not looking nice. Payment SaaS projects. Let me close some of this. Payment SaaS. Okay, I can work with this. Let me work with this. All right, this is okay. So this is what I would do. This is what I would do. I'm going to copy, download the zip. All right. I will not download it immediately. I'll just copy link to the address. Click on copy link to address. All right. Come here and paste it as your source. That's your source. All right. That's your source. So your destination will be, I want to save this file in /var/www/html. So now I need to let Ansible know that yes, the file is located on the targeted machine. So by specifying this parameter, which is by specifying this argument, remote underscore source. So I'll say yes, that this file will be located on the targeted machine. Okay, so I think this is it. This is it. So at this juncture, I need to start now. I need to go and create variable. All right, I need to create variable. I need to create variable for this, the state and the service state. All right, I also need to create variables for this whole thing. Okay, so I need to variabilize. Let me use the word, please permit me. I need to variabilize, my entire Ansible YAML script. Okay, so for that, I'll go back to my default directory. So let me copy these guys so that I will know what I am doing. Right click, copy, escape, save, and quit. So I'll go a step backward. Look at where I am. I'll go into default. All right. So inside default, I'll go into main.tf. So in main.tf, so here, I need to now start defining those tasks as variables. All right. I'll define them as variables. So let me paste them so that I'll use it as a guide. So I'm going to use these guys as a guide. So my first variable will be web server name. The web server name is Apache 2. Web web server state. So web server state, the value is present. Then web server service is started. All right, so web server started. So web code. So web code will be the entire of all of these. This will be my web code. All right, copy it and paste. That's my web code. Let me just call it. Then what else do I need to do? then I need to verbalize destination, web folder. So web folder is var www html. Okay, what else do I need to do? Okay, I think I've done all of these. I've done all of these. I've done all of these. Web service started. Apache 2. I think that's all. So these are my variables. All right. These are the variables, and this is how I need to create them. All right. So these are the variables, and these are how I need to create them. So let's copy these variables so that we'll have a guide. Copy these variables. Copy, save and quit. Now go back into tags, vim tags main.tf. So back here, let me paste those variables so that we'll have a guide as well. So in case of web server name, which is Apache, I will not use Apache. Rather, I'm going to call the variable. So this is how you call the variable, web server name. All right. So this is how you use variables in Ansible Roles. Okay. So let me comment that. So state will be present. So this is how you make everything reusable. So this will be web serve state, right? So it uses Go Go syntax. This is a Go syntax for using for calling a variable. All right, Go language syntax. Okay, so let's go down. Same thing here is that okay, web server name. Okay, then state started web serve svc. Okay, web serve svc. Okay, right. So now for the downloading part, it will be web code. Okay, web code. So I can remove all of this. We don't need this anymore. So it makes your script look very readable, right? Your YAML script readable and simple to follow. All right. So we'll do the same thing here. I'll call it um, web folder. Oh, folder. All right. So I don't need this. So very easy. So you can now see how I have been able to reduce my my task with the use of variables, right? With the use of variables. I think that's it. That's it. So if I also need to create some users, I'll say web user s web web user. Okay, I'll create that. So let me go up. Let's do something. So name of the task, create web user. Right. So the model will be user. Then the name will be web user. Make sure you go and create this variable. Okay, and this user will belong state. Okay, state present. So we can call um, we can call this is present web serve state. All right, web serve state. You can call web serve state here because it's the value is present. All right, you can call it there. Then the UID, you can specify the UID, let's say 400. Then this user should belong to a group called web admin. So let's also variabilize it. Let's say um, web group. So web group. Okay, I think that's it. So above this, we should also create another tax name for the group, because your group must be existing before you create the user. Create a web group. Okay, and the model is group. So the name of the group is going to be web group, which we have to create web group. Okay, then state will be web serve state. Okay, then what else gid, can give it 401. Okay, and I think that's all. So the only two things we need to create are the web group and the web user. Okay, so web group and web user variables. So I think I'm through here, so let's delete all of these. I only use them as a guide. Right, so save and quit. So I'll go into default the main, sorry, vim default main. Okay, so I'll create web user and web group variable. So the value will be, let's say web admin, and the web user is web user. All right, web user and web admin. So these are the things that we need. So I'm going to escape and save and quit. So let's look at the structure. So cat tax main.tf. So this is my tax I have created. All right, this is the tax I have created. This is the tax, these are the tags. All right, the first task is to create web group. It will pick this value from my default, which is my variable. All right, the same thing to pick all of these values from the default file. So let's also check the default main, the same thing. So it's going to pick all of these variables I have set. All right, from here, all of these values I have set, it's going to pick them from this file. All right, it's going to pick from this file. Okay, so the next thing we need to do, let's look at our structure again. We need to create a playbook.yaml file. So in that playbook.yaml file, I'm going to call the role name. So the role name in this context is web serve. So I'm going to go a step backward into the directory, so you can see. So I'm going to create a file called playbook.yaml, right? So vim playbook.yaml. Okay, so this file is going to have a typical playbook structure, which starts with hosts, right? We start with hosts and specify the host. The host is going to be app01. Okay, now and say name of display. Name of display will be um, um, setting up web server. All right, setting up web server, and the com will be true. I need to escalate my privilege, right? Then, if you remember, when we normally write playbook, we always write everything with the task. So here it's supposed to be task, right? But we are dealing with roles, right? So in this context, it's going to be roles, right? So while it's role, I'm now going to call my role, the role that I created. So I'll call that role inside of my playbook. So this is the beauty of using roles. So I'll call the role inside of my playbook. So the role name is uh, web serve. Web serve. Let me be sure. So the role name is web serve. Is the name of the parent directory, right? The role name is the name of the parent directory. So let's go back to the playbook again. So host is this is my target host. Name of the play is setting up web server. Become escalating roles privilege. Then roles, you specify your roles. So if you have multiple roles you've created, so let's say for instance, I have other roles I have created. I'm going to list them here. Let's say DB. I have other roles as well. Let's say Postgres, right? So you just call the roles inside of your playbook, all right? But in this context, I don't have any of these, so I'll just leave what I have, which is what web serve. That is all. Escape, save, and quit. Make sure that your playbook is in the same level with your roles, all right? With your roles. And inside, we have our role structure, default and task. Okay. Um, uh, I've done some. I've done a mistake somewhere. Service, service to be service, not services, please. Not services. Service. All right. That's the model name. Okay. Now I need to copy my inventory file. My inventory file is not here, so my inventory is somewhere. So pwd. So I'll copy inventory into this. So I now have my inventory inside of my directory. So at this juncture, I can now run Ansible playbook. All right. So let's run the Ansible playbook and look at roles in action. So I will now say Ansible play dash I inventory, then my playbook. So here's my playbook. So if everything goes fine, we should be up and running. So let's hit enter and see what happens. Okay, so now we are having a whole lot of challenge here because um, the server is not updated, one, and also we've requested to use on archive, but there's a package called unzip is not installed. So let's go back and try and install the unzip package. So I'll go to web and then task. Okay, so in here I'll go to my main.tf. So I need to install a package called unzip, right? So let's do that somewhere here. Let me create a task. Okay, I can call that package somewhere here. I can call that package here. So I can call the package here. Uh, Let me just do something different. Name install unzip. Okay, so we are using apps. Okay, we're using apps. So name will be um um I should just go directly unzip unzip. Then state is present. So present, I'm going to use web state. All right, I'm going to use web serve state. All right, I think that's all. So this will install unzip package. Okay, so escape, save and quit. Let's go back. Let's go back. So now I'll rerun my Ansible command. Sc. Let's see. Let's see. So all right. So okay. So all right. So we're having this challenge. We need to update install package. All right. So what is it saying? Fail to fetch because it's not updated. Apache 2. Fail to all right. So let's go back to that file. Let's go back. Vim web um, ax main.tf. Let's update this package. So let's do something somewhere here. Let's update. Let's say name update server. Okay. I'm going to use shell. All right. So shell, I'm going to run a command apt update dash y. I think that's all I need. Apt update dash y. So this will update the entire package so that it will be able to be installed. So apt update dash y. Update, that's a new task. So escape, save and quit. So I need to run this one more time. So let's see. So it's updating the host web serve. It's running some updates. So let's see if everything goes well. All right, it was updated. Now it's going to install Apache web server. It's going to install Apache web server. Okay, so what's the challenge now? It's undefined. So it's complaining about variable web serve svc. The error was web serve svc. Apache service web serve svc. Let's go there. The service web serve svc. Now let's look at what we have under default. Web, oh, there's no v. All right, so the variable name, there's no v in the variable name. Web serve. So I can put a v here. I can put a v here. Web serve svc. All right, so this, it was just a variable misspell that was being misspelled. All right, so let's run this again and see how it goes. Okay, so updating the server is done. Install your zip, install Apache. All right, perfect. So now everything is working as planned. All right, so we've been able to download that what's it called, the source code, all right, from GitHub. So let's check. So this is the machine. Sorry, this is the machine. Is hanging. So this is the machine. So let's check first for the user that we created. The user was web user. Okay, web user. All right, so let's also check for the group grep web. So we have a group called web admin, which web user is a member of web admin. All right, great. So now let's go into this directory called this, and we can see that we actually did a download. So this is the file that we downloaded. All right, we downloaded from GitHub. Okay, this is directly, this is what we downloaded from GitHub, the zip file. So you can see from my control machine. All right, let's see what we can do here. Task, was it task? All right, okay, let me go default. Sorry, so default, you get to see it very well. And main. All right, so we downloaded this guy into the web folder. So this is what you're having here. All right, we downloaded it into the web folder, but now we need to copy the entire content of this into HTML itself. All right, HTML, so that our web page will be displayed very well on the browser. So this is what we'll do. We're going to write another task. All right, go back, web serve task, and main.tf. So in main.tf, I'm going to write another task. So name the task. Let's say copy web content. All right, copy web content. So I'm going to use shell to do all of that. So I will say cd into var www html. So after cd into that, and also run this command as well. After cd into this, copy recursively. Copy recursively. Okay, let me add that other part. Let me add this part. Copy this folder as well. All right. So this is what's going to happen. After changing directory into this guy, right? Now, while you are inside of that guy, copy recursively everything using star, everything inside of this place into slash var slash www slash html. All right, so we can call our variable here as well. Let's see if that will work, and say web folder, and say our web folder. All right, so we can also use web folder here. Cd into web folder. Right, so I'll remove this. Let's see what happens. All right, cd into this. Okay, uh let me see what happens. Let's see. So now I'll rerun the Ansible playbook. Let's see the error, if there could be some errors. Install zip, start a service, download, copy. Okay, so it was perfect. Let's see if that really happened. So let's check. You can see I have these files. I've been able to copy all of these files. So let's see. You can see how variables is making our work very easy. Roles. Let's go back. Let's see what happens here. Now, copy web content using shell. So I cd into web folder, which I've already defined somewhere, and slash this part. All right. So after cd into it, now copy recursively everything inside of this part into var www and that. All right, so at this juncture I don't need this guy. I was just keeping that. Okay, keep your code clean, keep it clean, keep it clean, keep it clean, keep everything clean. All right, so you can also go ahead to variabilize all of these if you wish. All right, if you wish, and all of that. So I think we are all done. We are all done. Escape, save, and quit. Now let's rerun that one more time. Let's rerun it one more time. Let's rerun it one more time. Install unzip, install Apache, download Viola. So this is roles in action, Ansible roles. So now let's pick our public IP, the public IP of app01. Here's the public IP, and let's go on our browser. Let's go on our browser and launch our web application. So if I hit enter, we should have our web application. So this is the guy's code. This is that guy's code that I copied and is actually up and running. Secure payments. So this guy's application. All right. So this is the guy's application and all that. So this is how you use roles. All right. You use roles to manage playbook. You use your roles to manage playbook. Let's look at the directory structure one more time. So this is it. So I have inventory, I have playbook.yaml, Then I have the role name. The role name is web serve. So in the role, I have defined my variables in default. I've also defined all my tasks in the task folder. All right, in the task folder. I think let's just go through the content. To look at now is very simple. My playbook.yaml file is now simple, very small, miniature. All right, very small and well to manage. Okay, just simple. All right, so let's also see what we have under web default and main. So yeah, this is my variable name and values. Right, variable name and values. Keep your thing simple. Then finally, let's look at what we have under task main. So this is where you define all your tasks, which they are all in form of variable. Like I said, this syntax is a syntax gotten from Go. In Go, in Golang, this is how you define a variable. So YAML uses most part of Go. Okay, most part of Go. I think with this, we have come to the end of Ansible roles. Ansible roles. We've implemented everything about Ansible roles. All right, Ansible roles. But in production, I won't advise you do it manually. Just use Ansible Galaxy. All right, make use of Ansible Galaxy, and you should be all right. Should be all right. All right. So in the next video, we shall also still talk about Ansible roles, but we shall look at how we can download already made roles. All right, remote roles. There are remote roles and there are local roles. So this role I just did is a local role. All right, it's a local role. So there are remote roles which we shall look at when we meet in our next episode. Until then, I'll say bye bye and a very good afternoon. Thank you, and see you in our next episode.